Let's start. I mean, I'll skip your biography because I believe people know most of it. You're Minister of Regional Cooperation right now, but you've been Minister of Agriculture before, of Health, I believe, Justice, Chair of the Foreign Affairs and Security Committee. So you are one of the most experienced politicians in Israel today. And a few days ago, you called upon Benny Gantz, the leader of Kahol Lavan, of Blue and White, to tell us where he's heading. And luckily for us, you know, timing is everything. It happened this afternoon, wasn't it?
Exactly. Thank you, Uri. I'm currently also the Minister of Agriculture, but it's true that I served in 7 different ministries so far, and today I'm the Minister of Regional Cooperation and Agriculture. Benny Gantz, I think, faced very, very demanding dilemma, but he chose the right direction, and I'm sure it wasn't easy for him. And disassociating himself from people that joined him and supported him for a long time, more than a year now. But he understood that this is an hour of leadership. He made a leader decision to join Netanyahu and build up together a unity government. And we are hopeful that we will look at the future, look back and say, this was a crucial moment for the Jewish people and for the citizens of Israel.
Can you enlighten us a bit about what is the deal? What exactly is the deal?
I'm not aware of every detail, but I know what was the very generous offer of the Prime Minister. He made clear that even though we bring to this coalition 60 members, 59 really, and Gantz will only bring 20, 25, I don't know how many join him. We are going to have a parity unity government, which means that it will be equal in the cabinet, in the Knesset posts, and decisions will be made in consensus. So I believe that this was the only way to attract Benny Gantz into this adventure, because altogether, as many things in politics, you must take some risks. But the risk that he's taking now is for the future of the country and for the unity of the Israeli society.
Will there be a rotation?
Of course, there will be a rotation. Netanyahu will serve a year and a half, and then Gantz will replace him and be the prime minister for a year and a half.
So how do you see this government operating with a strong majority? I mean, apparently it can. What kind of policy can it adopt?
Well, the main challenge we are facing now is the coronavirus challenge. So this virus does not, catch only right wing or left wing or Jews or Arabs or Jews or religious or secular. It's a threat to everybody in the world, including Israel. So I believe that the first year will be focused on fighting the virus and making sure that the Israeli economy goes back to track. In the meantime, we will see who will be the president in the United States in the next November elections. It's coming up very soon. And we hopefully will be able to be helped by the administration, whoever will lead the administration, into a new round of negotiation with the Palestinians. We will have to try and build an Israeli consensus once again. I believe that it's possible.
We're having some difficulties hearing you, but I want to blame the internet of the Knesset for this, not your computer or something. A question. Once there was a question about the joint Arab party, the legitimacy of them being part of a coalition or being counted as legitimate candidates. What is your attitude toward it?
Well, I don't think there is any doubt about the fact that they're a legitimate party, several parties that united, and they represent almost 20% of the Israeli constituency and the public. And altogether, they are part of Israel in so many words, in every field. The problem was that through the years, some of their most prominent leaders advocated for issues that made almost every Israeli very frustrated. They identify themselves with the most hateful forces in the Arab world, including Hezbollah, the leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, who was praised by Ayman Odeh, the leader of the Joint Arab Party. You heard, of course, what happened with one of the members of the Knesset from this party, a new member, Hiba Yazbak, who praised another terrorist, very, very cruel one, who served many years in Qatar. You know what he did. We don't have to be graphic about it. And she praised him as a martyr who fought for the liberty of his people. He's not even Palestinian. He's a Lebanese terrorist. Altogether, there was a problem with making or building a coalition that will be dependent on this party on issues that are very crucial to our very security. So I think that not only the Likud was critical about it, Benny Gantz himself, Yair Lapid, Bogi Ya'alon, Gabi Ashkenazi, all the leaders of Kahol Lavan, the election, that they are not going to be dependent on them. And I think that, unfortunately, some of them did not follow their own commitment, but Benny Gantz, I think, made the right choice by choosing the path of unity government. And it's not a racist decision, it's a logical, it's a practical decision.
There's a question from Hanan Beris. How can Netanyahu and Benny Gantz work together after all the bad blood that went between them?
At the beginning, it's not going to be easy. I am a former member in various events. The first one was here, and Peres, that was established back in 1984. At the time, I was the chef du cabinet, the chief of the bureau of the prime minister, Shamir, and working daily with him and with Peres was not easy for him.
You came across very broken. You came across very broken. So I'll just summarize it to people that in the unity government of the mid-80s, you were the chief of staff of then Prime Minister Shamir, and you worked with Yossi Beilin of who worked with Peres.
No, Shamir was working with Shimon Peres and with Yitzhak Rabin. It was the unity government that kept 4 years, including the process of rotation. First and last such a scenario in the Israeli political arena. They were mature enough, responsible enough to find the way to work together. And I also served later with Sharon and Peres, Netanyahu and Barak. So I believe that altogether it's possible, but it takes responsible people to do it.
There's a question, who do you think will be the finance minister? Because it's very important with the coming budget and the coronavirus crisis.
That's a decision that the Prime Minister will have to take. I can tell you that I don't know not only who will be the various ministers, but will I stay in my position or be in the government at all. I'm not aware of the details of the specific coalition agreement that is being written right this moment. Whatever the Prime Minister will make a decision, we will respect it. He's the one paying also the price. He's going to step down after a year and a half. So each and every one of us will have to contribute to the joint effort.
This is not going to be easy, because if it's a parity, then few people from Likud will get ministries.
Well, we go and serve in the United Nations. So we will ask the United Nations to appoint us to various important positions all over the world, and then we come back to Israel.
If they're cooking something while you're sitting with us, don't blame us later, okay?
It's
As
okay.
we speak.
I'm used to it. I'm here 32 years, since 1988, and I know that somewhere somebody will take care of me.
There's a question about, you mentioned before, the hopefully coming back to the peace talks. Can you elaborate on this? Talk about what? About the deal of the century, or some new ideas, or what?
Well, I think the deal of the century was an amazing, creative effort to try and bring the sides back together to a dialogue. Of course, the Palestinians were not enthusiastic about it because, unfortunately, they are unable so far to understand that some issues must be part of the concession, the overall historic compromise that is the only way to bring peace to the Middle East. They're waiting for President Trump to evaporate. But if he will be reelected, or if someone else will be elected from the Democratic Party, will adopt the idea that we have to build a new trust between the Palestinians and the Israelis, we should be happy.
Yeah, you'll have to build trust also with the Democrats, because I think in the last years, support of Israel became a bit partisan issue, which was never before.
Definitely, I agree with you. Of course, we did not initiate it. We tried to stay out of the political arena in the United States, to be bipartisan. But the fact was that the president really made unprecedented decisions in so many dimensions that it was very clear that we are very happy with it. But we worked with democratic administrations for decades. So I believe that we will be able to keep away from the domestic issues.
Let's talk a bit about the management of the current crisis. You know, there's a lot of controversy about the way the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Health are running the crisis. There are voices saying there's too much panic, and the government decided to stick to the doomsday scenarios, while the Ministry of Finance is calling for easing measures, so to let the economy, not to let the economy collapse. What is your position on this?
Well, criticism in a democratic country and in any time, especially in times of emergency, it's legitimate and it's important and it enriches us all. Nevertheless, being, of course, very subjective, because I'm part of the decisions that are being taken every day and usually every night, through the night, by the government in a video conference meetings or telephone meetings. I can tell you that I am amazed by the way the Prime Minister is running this crisis. He was really one of the few leaders in the world that recognized back in the beginning of this month, even before the elections in Israel, that harsh, strong, tough decisions must be made. He was the first one in the world banning any flights from China. He was the first one in the world banning flights from Europe. He was the first time in the world, the first leader in the world banning flights from America. It wasn't easy, but we did it because we realized that this is something that is unprecedented, and it's going to hit us and hit us hard if we are not going to take the needed measures. And altogether, even though so far, like almost every country in the world, we are not able to say that we have flattened the curve, we see that the number of people that died in Israel is thank God, only 8. Of course, each and every one of them is a full life. But compared to Italy, Spain, United States, Britain, France, every country in the world, there's not even a comparison. Also, we are working very hard to be prepared to the days that are coming fast, that we will have a more exponential rise in the numbers of sick people, especially the number of people that have to be treated in the emergency room. So this is the challenge that is facing us. We're trying to be equipped and capable to defend the people of Israel from the results.
Last question. During the resignation of the Speaker of the Knesset, you said that you disagree with what the Supreme Court ruled, but you call upon respecting the ruling of the Supreme Court. What is your general take on division of power between the Supreme Court and the Knesset in general, and on this specific issue in particular?
Okay, I'm not going into the general question because it will take me an
us
hour.
A week. Okay.
As the former foreign Minister of Justice and Minister of Internal Security, legislator, I have a very strong opinion about it, finding the balance between various branches. But the major issue that I emphasized, even though I was frustrated from the decision of the Supreme Court to interfere with the work of the chairman, of the Speaker of the House, I made it clear that it's not even possible, and I don't accept it, and I cannot even grasp in my mind the decision of the Speaker to violate the decision. It's not something that is acceptable in every legal decision where one side is happy and the other side is frustrated. And that happens every day, 1,000 times a day, for 71 years of Israel. So those who are frustrated or have reservations can either appeal, and in this case there is no way to appeal, or accept. And there's only one decision that had to be made, to accept the decision. The Speaker was pain, he had a lot of pain to accept it, so he resigned. That's a generous decision, that's a noble decision, but I wanted to see the new chairman being elected very soon, and this is what just happened, thank God. So the decision of the court was not violated by us.
Yeah, two last quick questions. First of all, there's a talk about bringing in the IDF troops to help enforce obedience to the regulations. And this, and together with the authorization of security services to monitor people, isn't not going too far in infringing on civil liberties. And the second question is, will other factions join the unity government, like the religious parties, Yemina and others?
Okay. The second question, of course, is it's, you know, it goes without saying the Prime Minister initiated this unity government based on all the right-wing bloc, all the 58 members of our coalition were supporting this move and are going to be part of it. And some of the leaders of these factions will have to pay the price, personal price for it. But as I said, even the Prime Minister is paying a price, and all of us are supporting him. Take the hit ourselves. The first issue, I think it's very clear that every country must take any measures that they can to save lives. The Israeli Security Service, the GSS, the General Security Service, has enormous technological capabilities that will enable us to find people that met with those who are sick with coronavirus and warn them and tell them, look guys, on this specific day, you were very close to a coronavirus guy, carrier. Please take the needed precaution. Go home to isolation. So of course, it's some kind of compromising people's privacy, but we will have to do it for a week or 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks, and we'll be happy if we will be able to save lives. About the issue of the army is preparing itself to an emergency situation. Hopefully, we're not going to be there, but if there's no other option, and if we will see that people do not obey the call for them to stay home, we will have to impose it in every measure possible.
Some people claim that the army or the Ministry of Defense should have taken a responsibility for managing the whole crisis in the first place and not leaving it to the Ministry of Health.
So I beg to differ. I think that with all due respect to the army, they are not doctors. And the issue now is medical. Of course, if there's going to be more logistic issues, like imposing the curfew, building hotels, all the other issues that has nothing to do with the specific medical knowledge, they have to be given more and more authority. This is practically what's happening in the last 3 weeks.
Minister Hanegbi, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, and good luck with whatever next job you're having. Thank you.
I want to take your job if it's possible.
No, you're overqualified.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good health to all of you that are listening. Unfortunately, I can't see you, but I wish you the best.
Thank you. And stay tuned to tomorrow at 11 with the Professor Karen. Thank you and bye-bye.